First of all, let's make it so that we're able to iterate through the questions when we click on next, so we can actually see the iteration happening to go to the next question. To do that very simply, we are going to add a variable at the top here, int, and this is going to be private. I'm going to call this current question index and give it 0. Okay, this is going to control the index for each question that we have inside of our question bank, the list. So in the next question here, we're just going to go ahead and increment our current question, right? So I'm going to say current question ++ like this. Now we know by now that this will give us an issue as we continue to tap on that button. So everything is going to work, is it? No, it's not working because we haven't actually connected to our current question. That means we have to come to where we are showing all the text, which is here. Instead of just have that 5 there, we're going to pass it all in there. Very nice. Again, nothing has happened. You know why. The reason why, of course, is that we actually have to set the state. Yes, that was a nice trick there, right? Once I set state like that, because we need to refresh our view with the new values, we need to call all of that inside of a set state. Very good. So now if I save this, hopefully it's going to work, and you can see we can go through all of the questions, but of course, you know, at some point something's going to happen. Indeed, not in range. We have issues here because we got to the end of our index, or the length of our array, a list, and then we'll have the 15th item, because this is continuing to upgrade or to adding, and it gets to the end of the length of our array, and then things don't work anymore because we don't have the 15th or the 16th or the 17th item. Okay, to fix this, again, you may have seen this or may not. It's very simple. All we're going to do really is use this very nice trick here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the current index, say +1, and I'm going to use the modulo, okay, and pass the question bank dot length like this. Okay, this will make sure that when we get to the end of our length array, the value is going to revert to 0, meaning going to the back of our list. Okay, that's what you do. So save this. Actually, we'll have to rerun this because we've changed our data here. Okay, now we can keep going forever, and once we get to the end, it goes back to the first. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and look at the check answer. So what is the idea here? Well, the first thing we have to realize is that to check an answer, we need to know exactly which button was clicked. In this case here, we have this question that says there are 100 US senators. Is this true or false? Okay, so when I say true, I want to make sure that I check to see in the object that in the data model that we created these questions from, to see if it's true. So if you go back, remember, for each question, we have another property, which is a Boolean, which is true. So we're going to check to see if this is indeed what the user has clicked. If it says true, if it's the same value, true, true, that means that's correct. Otherwise, it's false. That means they're wrong. Okay? So that means then, in our check method here, what we need to do is actually pass a few parameters. First of all, we're going to pass, the choice. So I'm going to say user choice. What are we going to do? I'm going to go ahead and say if user choice, what we're passing, is equal to the question Boolean value. So this here for each question. So how do I access each question? Well, very simply, I'm going to say question, and I'm going to pass the current index, right? And I go and get the answer, or I think is true. That's the name field, right? Or is correct, that is. I don't know why isn't this giving me the actual IntelliSense or code completion here, but it's fine. Is correct. That is the name of the field, as we said. If that's true, that means yes, indeed, they are correct. So I'm going to say correct answer. Okay, and I can debug, print, and let's say yes, correct. Something like this. I'm going to copy that. Else, the only other option, obviously, is going to be that it's false. Let's save this. Just for good measure, let's rerun everything. I'm going to open, looks like I have a problem. Okay, so this is another thing that you notice here is that you can see you have a problem here. In fact, let me close that down. You can see that Dart analysis. as we write code, there is this Dart analyzer that goes and analyzes the Dart code and looks for errors. So if you click here, it's going to say required argument. So if you double click, it's going to take you to exactly where you need to pass the argument. So it's saying here we need to pass some sort of an argument because we said the check answer, we need a boolean. So the boolean in this case that we're going to be passing here, because this represents true boolean, I'm just going to say true, and otherwise is false. Okay, let's save that. Notice we have no issues anymore in our Dart analyzer. And come down here, let's see. There are 100, say true. If I open run here, yes, it's correct, because there are indeed 100 US senators in the United States. 2 per state. I know these things. All right, but if I say false, of course, it's going to go and say it's incorrect. So it is actually working. If I go to the next question, like this, we elect US senators for 4 years. That is indeed false. If I say true, it's going to say incorrect, right? False, that's going to say correct, because that is indeed correct answer. Okay, so now we know that this is indeed working. Our app is working. But now visually here, there's no way to see whether it's working or not. So what we're going to do is to add our snack bar at the bottom here, which will show if it's correct or incorrect. Okay, something visual. And we're going to do that in the next video. But I want you to do this as a challenge before we go next. So what we're going to do is add a snack bar. If you haven't looked at snack bar, go to the Flutter.io documentation and look for snack bar and see how to do that for each case. So if it's correct, then we want to show it's correct, not in debug, but in our snack bar. Else, it's going to be incorrect in our snack bar as well. Okay, it's going to be a little bit challenging, but I think you can figure that out. So do that before you watch the next video.